Hey, folks, just wanted to drop in and talk about, I realize that tomorrow, March 10th, sad day, 6-month anniversary of Charlie Kirk's assassination. That's right. I can't even believe it happened that quickly. But, we all know this was a devastating event, rocked our entire country, left the Republican Party with a huge hole. Charlie was one of, and actually the most influential young leader that's probably never going to be replaced. Well, it's one of those rare events where you always remember where you are. I mean, we talk about where were you when this happened or that happened, when JFK got assassinated, what were you doing? For me, there were a couple events that just came to mind that really are right on par for me with Charlie's assassination 6 months ago. The first one being 9/11. I remember exactly where I was at 9/11. Horrible event. The second one, as a lifelong New York Mets fan, born and raised in Brooklyn, New York, used to take the F train to Shea Stadium, the old Shea Stadium, not the ritzy City Field that we see right now. It was Mookie Wilson hitting that ground ball, and it went right through Billy Buckler's legs. Remember that? Yeah, I don't know how many of you remember that. And it was in the 1986 World Series. And then who could forget the last one? We all remember it. Trump winning the 2016 election against all odds. I want you to take a look at the call from Fox News, specifically Brett Baer, of him winning that event. I still get chills when I listen to it.
We are going to make this decision now. The Fox News decision desk has called Pennsylvania for Donald Trump. This means that Donald Trump will be the 45th president of the United States, winning the most unreal, surreal election we have ever seen.
I actually have a sad story involving Charlie right before his assassination. The year prior, I went to see Tucker Carlson as a VIP in Anaheim, California. I know I'll get into Tucker and what's happened to him on another show because I'm as disappointed as most people. But I went to see Tucker as a VIP in Anaheim, California when he did a tour, as many of you might remember. And this past August, about a month before Charlie's assassination, I got a call from the same folks who promoted Tucker's show the year before. And they called me and said, Steve, we're doing another tour, not Tucker, he's not touring this year, but Megyn Kelly, I know, we're going to get into Megyn as well. But Megyn Kelly is also doing a live show this year. Are you interested in attending as a VIP? And I said, absolutely, yeah, sure. This is before Megyn took a little bit of a weird turn in the last, obviously, 3-4 months. But I said yes, and I said, is she also performing in Anaheim, just like Tucker did last year? I said it's fairly easy to get there. It's about an hour and a half away from where I live. And they said, well, she's doing 2 shows out in your area. She's doing a show in Anaheim. She's doing a show in Bakersfield. I said, okay. I said, and is she going to have guests just like Tucker did when Tucker did his show last year? I was fortunate enough to also meet, spend a little time, take pictures with Robert F. Kennedy Jr., RFK Jr., when he had just come out supporting Trump. And Vivek Ramaswamy was also there. Have a nice little picture of that. And so I asked him, I said, so is Megyn going to have guests? And they said yes. He said yes. I said, okay, who's going to be at the Anaheim show? That would be my preferred one. And it was another podcast type person. I actually think it was a group of podcasters. Not anybody that I was that thrilled to see or anything. I said, oh, so who's going to be at the Bakersfield show appearing with Megyn? And the guy said, well, we haven't totally confirmed it. We're like 90% there. It'll probably be confirmed in the next day or two. Again, this is back in August of last year. but it looks like we've got Charlie Kirk. I said, are you kidding me? Charlie's going to be performing with Megyn Kelly at the Bakersfield show. He said, yeah, we'll have that locked up in a day or two. I said, well, get me into the Bakersfield show. I'd never met Charlie before. I was so stoked. And in fact, a couple of days later, he did call me. He confirmed Charlie did confirm. And Victor David Hansen also was appearing at that show, who I love. I love VDH. He's fantastic. The guy is an absolute icon, a legend for conservatives. But it was Charlie that I was just so stoked to meet, to take pictures with, to possibly chat with for a little bit. It was amazing. And he did confirm it a couple of days later, and I bought my VIP package a few days after that, and was so stoked, telling all my friends, family, everyone in my conservative circles that I was going to go see Charlie, and I was really, really stoked about it. And then September 10th happened, and I was shattered. I was shattered, not because obviously shattered like everyone else was about the assassination, but for me, it really did hit a personal note. I was this close to meeting Charlie and maybe chatting with him for a little bit, and that's obviously never going to happen again. And it affected me. It affected me a lot, as it affected all of you, I understand. But it had a little bit of a personal tinge to it that I'll never forget. In just these short 6 months, I think all about the huge news stories that have occurred and Miss Charlie's insight and wisdom on it. I mean, you think about what's happened in the last 6 months. It's only been 6 months, and look at the stories. We got the Gaza ceasefire, the release of the hostages. We've got Mondami, the communist, becoming mayor. The protest and the violence in Minneapolis over the ICE deportations. What would Charlie be saying about that? His insight, his words. Renee Good, Alex Preddy, that whole saga with Tampon Tim and Jacob Fry and Keith Ellison and the rest of the scum that are running a failed state. The Maduro capture. SCOTUS decision on Trump's tariffs. Senate Republicans not advancing the SAVE Act. The Senate race in Texas. I know that Charlie endorsed Ken Paxton before he was assassinated. What does he think about what's going on between Paxton and Cornyn, the runoff, and let's even talk about what Charlie would be saying about this fucking freak, James Tallarico. Okay, and all the crap that's coming out of his mouth, which has basically sunk him like the Titanic. But look, let him run. I never thought you could come up with a worse candidate than Jazzy Jasmine Crockett. But I think Tallarico's on his way to just making Crockett look like an absolute gift that she's not running. Not that either one's going to win, and neither one is going to win, and it doesn't matter whether Tallarico's running against Cornyn or Paxton, he's going to lose. But what would Charlie be thinking about all this stuff? The most recent, the invasion of Iran. What would Charlie consider this America first? I'm going to do a separate podcast segment on this, but I know that's really, really big chatter amongst everybody. Is this considered America first? Is it not? I'd love to hear what Charlie's response is and what his feedback and insight is on that. I could personally tell you, and again, I'm going to do another segment devoted just to this. I do think it's America first, and I am one of the most staunch America first people. Everything to me is about America first. And I do think it is, and I know there's a lot of controversy, and I appreciate the other side's viewpoints. I don't buy them. And again, we'll leave that for a separate show. But what would Charlie be thinking about that? And then last but not least, what would Charlie be thinking about with the Republican Party civil war that's going on now? It seems to get uglier by the day, and where it goes moving forward between many of the most influential players in our party. Charlie was always the glue that held everyone together. And now that he's gone, look what the fuck is going on. Tucker Carlson, Candace Owens, who I'm going to speak about later, Megyn Kelly, Dan Bongino, Ben Shapiro, Mark Levin, Matt Walsh, Tim Pool, Dave Rubin, Laura Loomer, Allie Beth Stuckey. I could go on and on and on. These people are going after each other. That sometimes they're allies, then they're enemies, they're frenemies. Some of these people have known each other for 10, 15 years. They've appeared on each other's shows dozens, if not hundreds of times. They now hate each other. They're at each other's throats. It is just the most amazing thing to watch as you and I and everyone is watching this unfold right before our eyes. And it seems like there's a new squabble and a new fight every single day between some of our major influencers. What in the world would Charlie be doing? What would he be saying? He was probably the only one who could bring it all together. And he's not here to do that. So what's going to happen? But we shall see. And of course, last but certainly not least, let's talk about Candace just for a little bit. This is about Charlie. But as I like to refer to her, I call her Crazy Candy, Conspiracy Candace, Candyland. You call her what you want. I call her other words too. I'll do those on my other podcast. What would Charlie say about Candace going after his wife and the love of his life, Erica, with the most insane and demonic accusations, as well as most of the top people at Turning Point? She's gone after all of them, a lot of Charlie's closest friends, and maybe, and most disturbingly, encouraging or brainwashed low IQ minions to never donate and support Turning Point ever again, which was bait. Essentially, that was Charlie's life's work. And Candace is saying, don't donate, don't support, and in fact, ask for refunds. This whack job, and I mean this whack job, and I will be really getting into, as I have, if you watch my X feed, I go after Candace and have for months and months. I'm not one of the Johnny-come-latelys. I've been going after her pretty aggressively for months now. I converse with other podcasters who feel the same way I do, and I feel the same as them. I'll probably appear on some of their shows in the very near future. We've talked about exchanging ideas and all that type of stuff. That's a whole separate topic. I don't mean to get off track, but it's just absolutely crazy. I think about what Charlie would think about where Candace is right now, knowing her as he did, knowing that she worked for him, that they were good friends at one point. I don't buy any of the good friend crap in the last couple of years. Clearly, she wasn't invited to his memorial. She never went to his wedding. She never went to a whole bunch of things in the last 2-3 years. I would venture to even guess how many times they even spoke to each other in the last 2-3 years. But that's another thing, another show. 6 months after Charlie's assassination, here's what I do know, folks, okay? Our country's in a much worse off for not having Charlie around, okay? I think we can all agree with that. Our Republican Party is sorely missing Charlie as the ultimate peacemaker and statesman to mediate our grievances as we splinter further and further apart. We just talked about that with all the influencers. Charlie's the only one. He was, and there's no other person in sight that could mediate and smooth out the rough edges amongst all of the people in our party. We like We like to be opinionated. There's nothing wrong with that. We're not like the Democrats, who are basically just literally, they fall in line. You do what we say. You vote how we tell you to vote. You have no personality, no say. They're just scummy, evil, demonic people who are statues and have nothing. That's not our party. Our party expresses our viewpoints. We have differing viewpoints. It's healthy. But when it gets to a point where it's gotten where we are right now, where there is just fighting beyond belief amongst our party and some of the viewpoints that a lot of the leaders in our party are expressing right now as it relates to Israel, as it relates to wars, as it relates to America First, all the things that you know and I know we're watching play out live day by day. It's absolutely crazy. Charlie was the only one to bring everyone together. I miss Charlie debating young people at college campuses and other events in the most civil and respectable manner and changing minds and perceptions every single day. Probably will be never anyone like that that's going to do that again. I miss Charlie promoting and leading an amazing movement towards religion, faith, and finding God. Among Gen Z and younger millennials, Charlie made faith cool again. Okay? Something I think many of us have seen slipping away over the last couple of decades, but Charlie absolutely made faith cool again. Lastly, for me on a personal level, I miss waking up every morning during the week and looking forward to watching Charlie at 9 a.m. Pacific Coast time. It was part of my routine. I rarely missed it. I'm not going to be able to ever do that again. I still watch the show, and I like the boys on there, Andrew and Blake and the rest of them, and it's still very topical. I think they're doing a really, really good job. But I got to be honest, not being able to have Charlie as part of my morning routine Monday to Friday is sad. It's deeply sad. It really is. So I just hope you like this piece. It's a sad event, but again, it's one we will never, ever, ever forget about Charlie. He was a part of our lives for however long you or I or any of us followed him, some longer than others, some just kind of following Charlie actually post-assassination because we've heard so much about him. But he was an absolute treasure. He's irreplaceable. He is, he the term generational for a bunch of people. With Charlie, it absolutely applies. He was absolutely generational. I don't know when or if we ever see the next Charlie Kirk again. So I just wanted to share that with you and hope you like this piece. If you did and you like this video, subscribe to my channel, YouTube, Rumble. Follow me on X, as I will be launching my podcast, real live podcast, Monday to Friday, very soon. We're probably a few weeks away. I'm lining up studios and equipment. It's all coming together, and it's coming together nicely. Also, hit the like button. Like, hit it, subscribe, and I'll see you guys real soon. You take care.